Good afternoon and welcome to News Today. I'm Bernice Abubedulansa. Our headlines this hour. Opposition NDC insists it has uncovered a plot by the EC and governing NPP to insert the name of an unqualified candidate into the Asin North voters register. Also, former President Mahama commemorates June 4, describing the economy as worst ever. And World Bank identifies energy sector debt as a major contributor to Ghana's debt unsustainability. We've got details of these plus more also in business, sports, world news and showbiz. Please stay with us. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle here in Accra, also live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144 and myjoyonline.com. Now, the opposition NDC insists it hasn't covered a plot by the EC and the governing NPP to insert the name of an unqualified candidate into the Asin North voters register. The party's communications officer, Sami Jenfi, was the first to make this allegation. The EC has since described it as untrue. Dr. Opoku is Director of Electoral Services at the EC.
What the statement is clear. We will continue to do what is right. So if anybody has any evidence that something is not being done right, expect to substantiate that. We cannot continue to counter the situation and it doesn't help anybody. So what we are saying is that the truth is always prevail. And we know we cannot do anything to it.
Well, the NDC is not buying to this explanations. Mustafa Agbande is Deputy General Secretary. He insists their allegations are true.
EI 127, a law guiding the public election in Ghana. Regulation 22 of that election states that when you are seeking to transfer a vote for the purposes of these elections, it should be done within 42 days before the day of election. So, quoting Article 94 to cover up or to explain that which we have raised as a fact. We are not talking about NPP's election guidelines. We are talking about the possibility that the individual as we speak today is a Ghanaian. He is a sound mind. He is more than 25 years old. He is a registered voter in Ghana. That suffices under Article 94. But he is not a voter in Asin North. And trying to make mockery of that issue is pedestrian, is preposterous, and coming from very lazy officers of the public, such as the Director of Election Services you just spoke to.
Away from that issue, flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, says the current state of Ghana's economy is worse compared to what led to the June 4 revolution in 1979. That revolution was led by late President Jerry John Rawlings. Mr. Mahama explains the country is experiencing economic hardships, high inflation and corruption due to bad governance of the New Patriotic Party. He was speaking at the 44th June 4 anniversary celebrations in Hohoi in the Volta region.
Prefer to better their lot and improve their circumstances to the detriment of the millions of ordinary Ghanaians. Opulence, ostentation, gaslighting have become this government's preference, even as unemployment reaches unprecedented levels in our history. Almost all the independent state institutions carefully built and nurtured over the decades to ensure sound, balanced, and equitable governance have been deliberately weakened and bastardized through politicization and subjugation to the will of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration and the ruling New Patriotic Party. Ours is a country in dire need of proper leadership and governance. The June 4th uprising occurred for far less than what is happening in our country today. The national decay can only fester. The national decay can only fester under this NPP mandate. A new revolution, this time of a democratic and peaceful kind, must take place at the elections of 2024 to end the suffering of our people and enable us to begin resetting our nation. That when that new dawn breaks, the governmental rot, the economic hardships, and the insensitivity to the plight of the people, and the offensive corruption and waste of the people's resources will be a thing of the past. To the millions of young Ghanaians out there for whom affording 1 meal a day is a very serious challenge, and for whom leaving this country in droves, even at the peril of their lives, is a preferred option. To the thousands of business people whose businesses face ruin because of the gross mismanagement of this economy, I urge you not to despair. There is hope on the horizon. I look forward with hope that the day is coming when a new paradigm shift is going to occur. Your help would, however, be required in order to achieve this endeavor. Do not allow those who have made life difficult for you all these years to mislead you with hollow sloganeering and shallow populism. Please do not allow them to convince you that you must vote for them in 2024 because of your origin or your family ties. The suffering and pain of the last 7 years have not discriminated along ethnic, tribal, religious, or sectarian lines. There should be sufficient basis to work towards a change that helps reset our country and build the Ghana we all want together. It must be a change that will afford you a shot at fulfilling your aspirations and realizing your dreams in your own country. As heirs of the revolution in the NDC, we have no choice but to offer dedicated leadership for this effort. We dare not fail, for to do so would mean to condemn our people who look towards us with hope to further suffer.
And that was former President John Dramani Mahama. This is JoyNews Today. Now, MP for Tema East, Isaac Ashai Odampton, says basic education in his constituency could collapse if immediate steps are not taken by government to fix some challenges. According to the MP, most basic schools in his constituency are without the needed textbooks. MPs on Government Assurances Committee are touring schools to verify the Education Minister's claims that textbooks for the new curriculum have been distributed to basic schools.
It's expensive. And so the gaps we are seeing in Tema now, in terms of textbooks, in terms of classroom availability, in terms of furniture, is so obvious. I know we don't have much time. And so to sum it all, government must move speedily to empower the assemblies and also empower the metro education officers to ensure that these gaps are bridged in the short term. Thank you. Thank you.
My colleague Kweku Asante is currently with the MPs who are touring these basic schools. He joins us with more details. Kweku, now, this MP has told us what the challenges are, but do we know if there's anything he is doing to help address them?
So, Bernice, the enormity of the situation is in such a way that the MP himself says he's handicapped in how he's able to support. He says he's been able to use his MP's common funds to help with the infrastructure bit, but there are some bit of it that is completely out of its purview. We know that government started implementing the new curriculum in the last 4 years, and the new textbooks were needed to complement government's efforts in this regard. For 4 years now, a lot of schools have been operating without textbooks, and teachers have had to use their lesson notes to be able to take students. This, the MP says, it is not within its purview. We cannot print textbooks because it does not have even the authority to be able to do so. Just last year, the minister appeared before the Assurance Committee in Parliament and assured them that after 3 years, the textbooks were now going to the schools, and that if they went there to inspect, they would find that. We have been going to a number of schools since last week, Thursday, and the situation is generally that a lot more schools do not have copies at all. Even those who have copies have very few copies. So the situation is really there, and the students themselves, together with their head teachers, are crying that the lack of textbooks is affecting how they are able to impart knowledge to students, and especially for students who are about to write BEC, they are in a much difficult and precarious situation. So the situation isn't so good as we speak, and the call from the committee, the call from the MP and other stakeholders is for the Education Ministry to make good the promise they made that these textbooks will now finally go to the schools.
Right, Kweku, so the committee, we understand, is wrapping up the tour today. Just give us the general sentiments and, most importantly, what the committee is going to do based on the discoveries it has made on the ground.
So most of the committee members have been speaking to, you get a sense that they are really disappointed about the situation. In fact, Bennett, I can tell you that these schools that the Assurance Committee is storing were actually schools that were selected for them by the Education Ministry. And so it tells you that if they were supposed to have done random stuff, go to schools themselves to find out what the situation is, it would have been much worse. These are schools that the Education Ministry selected themselves. So it tells you that these are schools the Education Ministry thought they had resourced them adequately enough, and the situation isn't so. The committee expects that when they return to their various offices in Parliament tomorrow, when the House is due, they'll put together a comprehensive report and really charge the Education Minister to do his best. There are even those who are asking that the Education Minister be charged with perjury because he appeared before the committee and said that he was going to provide the textbooks and had already dispatched same. But a year down the line, the Education Ministry is storing these facilities and declared that the textbooks are not there. So we expect some more action when the committee members return to Parliament tomorrow.
Right, Kweku Asante there, he is a parliamentary affairs correspondent. Now, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection says it's cleared all arrears for the 2022 first and second terms. Sector Minister Lariba Zuera Abudu said this at a news conference on Sunday. Caterers under the school feeding program declared a nationwide strike in April, demanding payment of all arrears. They also want the cost per meal to be increased. Addressing these concerns, Gender Minister said all arrears for 2022 will be paid next week.
The program, as at April 2023, the Ministry, in collaboration with Ministry of Finance, paid for the first and second arrears of 2022 academic year. I want to repeat that one. As at April 2023, the Ministry, in collaboration with Ministry of Finance, has paid the first and second term arrears of 2022 academic year. 2022 academic year. I want to give the assurance here that next week, caterers' arrears will be paid. We have done all the validation, we have done the auditing, and I want to ensure that the auditing and due diligence is done. And it takes time because you could see that the numbers are very voluminous, in thousands. So you need time for the auditors to go through and make sure that every caterer who has cooked have been captured and will be paid. So this one takes time, and they have to bear with us when their monies are not coming in good time. Certainly, we will pay them, and next week we are paying.
Her ministry is engaging the Finance Ministry for an increase in the cost per meal.
The Ghana School Feeding Program had 1,671,707 beneficiaries in 2016. And this has increased to 3,801,491 in 2023. And this covers 10,832 public basic schools. And that is from the kindergarten to P6. It's huge. So what we have done, the following costs per meal, per day, per child, was increased from 8 pesos in 2016, 80 pesos, in 2016 to 1 cedi. Friends from the media, in 2023, the cost per meal, per child, per day has been proposed as 1 cedi, 20 pesos, as we stand now. 2023 academic year, the cost per meal, per child, per day has been proposed as 1 cedi, 20 pesos, as we stand now. And we are still in talks with the Ministry of Finance to see how best, if it can be reviewed, we will let you know. But as today, we are with 1 cedi, 20 pesos.
Away from school feeding issues, the World Bank Country Director to Ghana, Pierre-Frank Laporte, says the country's energy sector debt is a major contributor to her debt woes. He says his outfit has identified certain factors that are driving the country's debt situation. According to Mr. Laporte, one is in the energy sector.
Those contracts that you've signed, those PPAs, are just too expensive. Too expensive, and the kind of PPAs you sign is take-or-pay, which means Ghana is paying to the electricity that is not even being produced.
Yeah.
You have double capacity. Yes, over time, usage will improve, so your excess capacity will go down. But the fact is, in the last few years, Ghana entered into some PPAs that were the wrong types, in our view, and at the wrong rates, at the wrong prices, and today you are paying dearly for it. And also it has an impact because today we're talking of clean energy.
Yeah.
Many companies want to come to Ghana to do solar and all. Yeah, government wants probably the best thing to do, but you are still caught up with those that you have to pay because you are tied up in these contracts. So you will take new ones, you will pay.
Reacting to this, energy analyst Mr. Opoku suggested that the concerns raised by Mr. Laporte are not new. He only bemoaned the attitude towards such remarks made by local CSOs and analysts like himself.
One of the biggest problems we have now is also fuel, natural gas, availability of gas to power these generation plants. Okay? Now, secondly, now you need money to basically pay the existing IPPs that you owe. One of the problems we put ourselves in as a nation is we've come out to say that, look, going forward, we will not give any guarantee. We wouldn't do any take or pay. We'll do take and pay, which means that come and build your plant. We won't give you any guarantee. As and when you produce, we'll pay you. No investor is going to do that. The only ones who are planning to basically play around with that theory is the existing companies who are already here. The problem you have with the existing companies is that we procured the initial PPAs from them very expensive. So when you are now negotiating with them, you are basically negotiating down from a very expensive PPA. So you look at it as, oh, maybe this is cheaper. No, it's not. Because where you are coming from, you should have been there in the first place. So look, there is commitment, but there isn't enough commitment. Two, the situation that we find ourselves where we are not paying the existing IPPs, it makes it difficult for people, new entrants, new investors to come in and put their money in the energy sector without giving them the guarantee that they need. Thirdly, we now find ourselves in that position of fuel scarcity where we might not have enough natural gas for all these plants that are to come on. So
Energy analyst Coach Opoku there sharing, in his opinion, what the future looks like for the energy sector and what needs to be done to get us out of the mess. Away from that, 21 out of the 107 suspects arrested by police in Daboya in the North Gonja district of the Savannah region for alleged vandalism of 2 police vehicles appeared in court this morning. They were charged with destruction of public property and rioting. The about 97 others have since been granted bail. Savannah Regional Minister Said Muazi Jibril responded to issues on the status of talks with the feuding factions in the Lukula clashes.
The things that the people from Janga are complaining about in that press conference, that the people have the more easier to visit the place.
Because these are people. They are also, their lives are at risk if they go there because they may see them to be strangers. And if strangers are seen, they could be targeted by any of the factions. And that is why even we haven't visited there yet because we know that there's still tension. You have to let people, tension calm down. People have to calm down and before you go to those places. And I think that is the major reason why they have not gone.
Okay.
Yes.
Any message to the general public outside there, especially people in that area?
Yeah, the message is that we have been brought into the office to prevent life and property. And as such, I will plead to both traditional areas, Waspe traditional area and the Janga traditional area, to at least smoke the peace pipe and now go into negotiation as to how to solve this problem instead of always resulting into violence and eventually people are losing their lives. I think that is not the best way to go. So all that I'll ask the 2 traditional areas is that please, let's give peace a chance in those communities. And whoever the land belongs to, at the end of the day, the land will go to the person.
To some other stories now, here on News Today, authorities seem unmoved by enormous holes in our roads that cause cars to jolt. But some young guys have offered to fill them up so they can make a living. Well, have you considered what these young men may be praying against while you are also praying to get those roads fixed? In our second episode of Ghana Potholes exhibition, features editor Jojo Kobna brings you some reasons why government may not cover craters in the middle of our roads.
A thudding sound of pothole symphony. When your vehicle joins the chorus, then be rest assured that a hole will be created in your bank account. Driving on pothole-riddled streets means you have to constantly drift off your lane. From afar, you start looking like a drunk, needlessly turning the steering wheel. If you're wondering why the government is not fixing your potholes, well then, you guessed right. It is because there is no by-election in your constituency.
You've been agitating, demonstrating, crying out to government, and even praying to government to fix your potholes. But there is one man who is praying against that prayer.
If I'm a record, I'm I believe what almost 15 years in. I'm almost 6 months. Will be a mamma and Timiana, my baby, and I'm a cosa. The bomb prices soon to say. I said, and I'm a mayor. Yes, it will be celebrated because I'm a person of baby. I have a person that I have a the person bay. I didn't. Obviously, I'm be not drop money.
With so much passion fueled by hunger, he sometimes dangerously approaches drivers and sometimes weaves in between vehicles begging for coins to put food on the table for his family. For 3 years, he has been filling these potholes with soil on the Iran Clinic stretch, not only for the driving comfort of drivers and passengers, but to eke out a living. So would you be happier if God listened to your prayer instead? This crater is starting to take up the whole lane. A few meters away are well carved out potholes, more like asphalt or worry. They cover the entire stretch and you cannot save your car from them. So why not stop there for a game of a worry? Which office do you contact when the street is beyond pothole repair?
MP, why the ane say we be road no, also on your road, but some man Zubaga said there be yon na DC Zubaga say yon na president. Na say some of we mu a true say na Ghana for mon dwen. Ghana for say mon dwen. Ah, na say ndi obi va duan wo ni ansa we say odada. Say go na ma wu kwa no mu what a shock. Masa adwenwen kwa masa ya je we car we can pay. Breye so far pa wo ma we mu.
Yes, Ghana's roads can leave you enraged. So like COVID-19, you have to learn to live with it. When it rains, the craters become river-wide, suitable for fishing. So I went for a hook and line. And oh, what a great catch it was. Right in the middle of the road. So, with all these prospects, why would government cover them up? Jojo Kobna, Joy News.
So you can join our campaign, #GH Let us know what your potholes look like and if it's possible for you to even fish in yours. Well, on the AM show earlier, stakeholders shared how this particular issue can be dealt with.
Now, let's say Joy News to Circle had just been graded, had been compacted with a gravel, and then the first bitumen, which is more was what is called a primer seal, had just been applied to seal the surface of the gravel. And now maybe the contractor abandons the project and leaves site, citing maybe non-payment.
Right.
To the layman, and that is a completed road because he has seen application of bitumen and chips on it. So in that, no matter how good that road had been designed, that primer seal cannot hold the volume of traffic. In fact, even when it rains severely for some time, that road may be awashed because it is just a primer.
Right.
So until the first seal and the second seal is applied onto that road cannot be classified as a completed road. So that is what I want viewers to start to appreciate. And by appreciating, it means that when viewers or listeners within their jurisdiction see that there's ongoing construction, I think that there might be concern. People should start to ask a lot of questions so that they would appreciate any level at which their construction is being constructed. And then the contractors may also have to provide adequate information about the contract, the award of contract, the duration, the type of road, so that people may just call on whoever is responsible so they can get better clarity when some of these defects start.
Safety of the user, we are interested in all the categories of roads. Some gravel roads, paved roads, roads in the rural areas, cedar roads, urban roads, the trunk roads or highways. All the roads are very, very important because we are talking about use. People use them. Now, the very moment the road is interacting with human beings, we come in. And then we come in to ensure that the road is as good as can be used by any other person in a manner that he can traverse from origin to destination safely. Now, unfortunately, somehow, if you look at the statistics, we are recording crashes more on the trunk road, what we call the highways, than all the others. In urban roads, within the urban setup, we are recording crashes. But these are crashes that usually involve hit pedestrian, motorcycling, and vehicle, and so on. But on the highway, we are having problems as regards head-on collisions as a result of wrongful overtaking, speeding, overspeeding, as we call it, and so on. So roads generally are very, very critical to us. If you go to the rural areas, especially the feeder roads, we are now recording much of the crashes there because the vehicle population is low anyway. And again, the roads are also not as good as you can find on the highways. So you find vehicles not speeding like we see on the major roads on the highways. So I must say generally, we are interested in all the roads, all the categories of roads. Somehow, we try to focus a little bit on the urban roads, as roads within the urban communities or environment.
You're watching News Today with me, Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. So far, we've been bringing you updates from different parts of the country, also on the June 4 commemoration and the NDC's allegations about the NPP and the Electoral Commission conniving to insert the name of the NPP's candidate into the voter register in Asin North. There's still more to come. Do stay with us right after these messages. Business News is up next.
Hi, welcome to the business segment with me, Pius Kojobaka. Chartered accountants have been admonished to take advantage of technology and data analytics for a competitive advantage within the profession, according to the country managing partner at accounting and auditing firm Daniel Owusu. The accountant of the future needs to be surveyed in order to evolve with the changing industry. He spoke to Joy Business.
In his speech as guest of honor at the ICAG graduation and admission ceremony, Daniel Owusu said that the profession has evolved from manual processes to the use of technology. According to him, the needs of businesses are growing, hence the relevance of technology and data analytics to extract meaningful insights from vast amounts of information within the accounting profession.
As accounting professionals, you can either plan for change or be pushed out. We need to increase our knowledge and use of technology. Undoubtedly, the accountant of the future will need to be technologically savvy to evolve with a changing industry. As graduates and members, we should wholeheartedly accept these technological changes and use them as a competitive advantage. Another skill we need is data analytics skills. The needs of businesses are growing. There is the need for data to make business decisions.
For his part, guest speaker and vice chancellor of the University of Professional Studies, Accra, Professor Abednego Amate, who delivered a speech on behalf of the Minister for Education, challenged the graduates and newly admitted chartered accountants to distinguish themselves.
White-collar job as your source of manna. You can make your own manna and be a supplier to others. Remember that a word to the wise is always enough. Therefore, step out there and dare to be counted.
The 41st ICAG graduation and admission ceremony, which is the second in 2022, awarded certificates to graduates who successfully completed the Institute's qualifying examinations in December 2022 and March 2023. 73 members were conferred fellows, while 202 qualified accountants were issued certificates. In all, 620 new members joined the Institute, having satisfied specific qualification criteria. Rose Bewa and Charles Denchi Jr. emerged overall best Level 3 graduating candidates for both diets respectively.
Now, the Petroleum Commission says it is committed to protecting the livelihoods of fisher folk as firms engage in drilling activities. According to the Acting Director of Human Capital and General Services, Ajua Van Vika, the Commission's focus this year is reducing its plastic footprint. She made this known during a cleanup exercise organized to mark World Environment Day. The following report has more.
The World Environment Day is celebrated globally on 5th June every year under the auspices of the United Nations Environment Programme to create awareness about the adverse effects of certain human activities on the environment and to adopt international and pragmatic measures to protect it. This year, the spotlight is on reducing, reusing and recycling plastic waste with the hashtag Beat Plastic Pollution. It is against this backdrop that the Petroleum Commission has embarked on a cleanup exercise to create awareness of environmental pollution towards building a greener and more sustainable future. Ajua Van Vika is Acting Director of Human Capital and General Services at the Petroleum Commission.
The Petroleum Commission, as a responsible institution, is taking proactive steps to create awareness and promote initiatives to reduce its plastic footprint. Last year, the Commission joined in His Excellency the President's vision to green Ghana by planting trees at our external car park. This year, the Commission has outlined activities to include specific measures to segregate our plastic waste.
Mrs. Van Vika also revealed that the Commission is committed to ensuring that its exploratory activities do not affect the livelihood of the fisher folk.
We work on the seas because our drilling activities are on the seas, and our fisher folks around the coastal areas are complaining that even the fishes these days, they catch more plastic than they do fish. Whilst we are drilling, we don't want to take away their livelihood. So this is how we can also help for them to appreciate that the drilling is necessary for Ghana to, get the natural resource and then to get some exchange. But they must also continue to work. And if we kill the fishes with our activities, then they will complain. So that is the way that, in a way, we're not directly linked to it, but as much as possible, when there are other celebrations by the UN, we try to take part and then bring people's attention to activities that concern the planet generally.
The Petroleum Commission's cleanup exercise saw some of its staff clean up the premises and environs of the company to mark the World Environment Day celebration.
That's your business for now. I am Pius Kojobaka. Dara will be here at 1 p.m. with the marketplace.
Let's do sports now on JoyNews Today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah, former Black Stars captain. Asamoah Gyan has eulogized Ghana coach Chris Hughton, saying that his credentials has put him in a pedestal that makes him one of the best coaches to have ever taken over the Black Stars coaching job. However, he believes that with the current form of the players, the job is going to be very difficult for him. He says that the latter part of the various European seasons, most of the players, their form has dipped.
Experienced coach, he's somebody who is, I think, suitable for the national team. He started well, quite well. He's doing what he had to do. He's a very, very good coach, and everything will depend on him. And a bit worried because this later stages of the league, you saw players' form dropping, which is a bit worry, So but when you come to the national team, it's a different thing altogether. And I'm sure they've played for quite a long time, and then they know how to just do everything together. Everything is okay, but I'm a bit worried about this recent form that our players are having. And as I said, with the national team, it's a different thing. They can come and prove themselves. And when you talk about Chris has done what he had to do. It depends on the players, it depends on the management and the support from Ghanaians to just deliver.
Division 1, Zone 1 champions, Tanoba Fuakwa, they returned to Sunyani to a heroic welcome after beating Tashimana 11 Wonders to secure qualification to the Ghana Premier League for the first time in 16 years. Their arrival was covered by my colleague, Precious Semevo, and he's put together this report.
After 16 years in the wilderness of Ghana football, Bofakwatano fans earned the right to dance to the Ghana Premier League after beating 11 Wonders to the Zone 1 slot in the playoff match in Accra. The team was hugely welcomed in Sunyani, where they presented a trophy to the Tanoso and Sunyani traditional councils, Bono Regional Minister, the Regional Chief Imam, and the general public. But beyond the qualification is the issue of an acceptable venue to play their home games. The Sunyani Coronation Park comes to mind, a venue that requires a facelift. Foster Opoku Buache is the Bono Regional Director of Sports Authority.
It is being on record that we need to actually attend to the state of the Coronation Park. There are a whole lot of things that we intend to do. As I speak, the immediate attention that we need is for us to have a new dressing room, and we work on the pitch as well as the inner perimeter. It is an additional responsibility to myself and my team as well as the people of Bono region. But we are trying to put measures in place to ensure that all these things are put so that by the beginning of the season, Bofakwa will play their first match at the Coronation Park.
Bono Regional Minister Justina Osu-Banahini assured the teaming fans of serious steps to help improve the Coronation Park.
Board members and the management, the first point of call.
Together with the board and management members, we will call on the sports minister to come to our aid, having secured the qualification. All 12 members of parliament in the region, whether in opposition or position, will also have to join others to help. While you bring trips of sand, I bring cement. Others donate different items, and then together we will be moving forward.
That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com and also at 2 p.m. when we come your way with Sports Today. Up next is World News.
Some showbiz here on JoyNews Today. Musician Kwame Eugene held a memorial concert for his late grandmother at Akemodan at the weekend. Industry players including Sister Fia Amradoya, Togras Kuku and others were at hand to make the event an unforgettable one. Here are highlights.
For my granny.
Is this the legacy you want to leave for your grandmother here in Odan?
She's done a lot for this whole community, and she's done a lot for me as an individual, and there's a little I can do to honor her name.
Now, you promised them that you're going to make it a yearly event.
I do this almost every year. Yeah.
Yes, I've been here with you.
This is the first time I'm doing a celebration for my grandma. I don't think I can do the celebration for every year, but a rockstar concert, yeah, I try my best.
What does this mean to you, this love being shown you?
It means so much to me. This is where I come from, and I love the people. And I love the fact that the people love me as well. And I think we can do a lot to help every single person. I mean, as much as we can.
Because Lumba the kind, I was here to cry, you jai him. So after the sorrows, we have to eat. I'm here to support a brother, and I just did my best, that's all.
How was it on stage for you?
Fire, you know, when we come, you know, it's a be fire. When we touch the mic, you can't. You know.
Away from Kwame Eugene, Grammy Award-winning Nigerian artist Burna Boy has achieved another major feat in his career, with his fans thrilled about his achievement. The common person crooner has sold out an 80,000 capacity stadium in London, UK, becoming the first African artist to solo headline a UK stadium. The concert, part of Burna Boy's Love Damini tour, was held on Saturday, June 3, and saw electrifying performances from Burna himself and international acts like Who's, Stormzy, Dave, and many more. Burna Boy performed some of his hit singles to a crowd screaming and alongside unreleased records. All right, on that note, we end Showbiz here on JoyNews Today, the sports showbiz news. In our subsequent bulletins, the news continues.
That's it for today's edition of News Today. Thank you so much for your company. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. We're also very interactive on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are Joy News on TV. I'm Bernice Abubedu Lansa. Up next, Darryl Powell has the latest from the world of business in the marketplace. Do stay. Have a good afternoon.